third-degree burns over 90% of his body.
Hello and welcome to Elephant Power Productions. I'm American Elephant, call me Kevin, and this is Kev Talks, a series where I talk about what I want to talk about. There's not much else to say that I haven't said in a previous video I recommend you go watch, so I'm just gonna cut straight to the point. Marvel Rivals is the shit. This game has been perfectly satisfying my urges to play Overwatch against every god in the world while keeping up my love of the Marvel Universe and its many characters. Speaking of, the game's current selection of heroes is great. I love the variety on display that balances the icons you'd expect general audiences to know, while adding in some unique new guys that maybe comic fans know more about. However, while what we have right now is more than enough, and it's all awesome, it's still fun to think about where this game could go from here as it grows, and we know more characters are coming. Hence why I have come forth months after TroyoBoyo17 has probably already made a better version of the video you're about to watch, with my wish list of one Marvel character per class that I want to see added to Rivals. So join me as I discuss how my chosen Marvel characters could have their superpowers turned into gameplay mechanics, and end off each section discussing skin possibilities for each character.
Any questions? Good. Now let's get to work.
For the Netherlands! Starting strong, we got the tanks. Vanguard.
Judge, jury, executioner!
We are undefeatable!
These big guys do exactly what you think. They deliver powerful punches from afar and up close while having defensive capabilities that can carry your team. And cake, but that's another story.
I like men!
Back on topic, because my current main for the game, Captain America, is in this class, I had to come up with someone good that I would want to play almost as much as him. So of course, this class was the toughest to pick a character for. Yeah, I could have easily just picked a big character I enjoy like She-Hulk, Colossus, Juggernaut, or Blob, but I wanted my choice to be someone distinct from what you'd typically expect of a Vanguard, while still working as a character that can properly shield people and do big damage. But while it took what felt like forever, I finally figured out a bit of a wild card from a corner of Marvel that only I and a sadly small percentage of the population care about. Eternals fans, come! Water! Actually, no, not him. Yes, Gilgamesh and Thena, for that matter, would both make great vanguards in this game. They're both powerful, tall, beautiful, protective characters, and as Eternals, they can generate unique weapons of cosmic energy to add even more visual flair to this gorgeous game. But with all due respect to this amazing power couple, I have a more, let's say, technical option to consider.
I bet you've built the perfect safe house. I mean, what's this even made of? Vibranium?
Fall collection. IKEA. Ass.
Bet you didn't see that one coming. Okay, now, Phastos may not seem like an obvious choice for this game as a Vanguard, since in the movie he's grouped with the thinkers and strategists of the Eternals, not the brawlers. That being said, not only is Phastos a buff blacksmith in the comics clearly inspired by mythological figures like Hephaestus, but even in the movie, the dude has tank-like qualities that can be directly turned into gameplay mechanics, like so. The primary can be his arm cannons that fire powerful, broad, cosmic blasts. Let's say 3 each, going back and forth to fire 6 shots before needing a reload. His secondary can be summoning a shield of tech parts with his technokinesis. Perhaps it can pop up fast or has a quick cooldown, but as a result, it's weaker and can only follow one person at a time. Ability 1 can be throwing out a swarm of his UFO devices that can explode in a chain reaction if you launch out enough. And ability 2 can be this move, where he launches a cosmic rope to yank and body slam foes. But let's not forget about the comics here. Ability 3 can be taking his cosmic hammer and slamming it into the ground. Imagine this bushwhack attack, but it affects people like Reinhardt's hammer slam. Then, for his ultimate, I'd have him take out the cosmic hammer again, only this time, it would grant him invulnerability for 5 seconds and fire even more powerful celestial energy blasts, while his body gets coated in energy lines like what happens in the Unimind state. Lastly, for skins, I would make his base design similar to this newer one on the first issue variant cover of the 2021 Eternals comics, and then just add in his luxurious movie costume with one of the older comic designs. So yeah, despite being a weird choice, Phastos is my wildcard Vanguard pick for this video. But even if he doesn't get in, I just want some Eternals representation in this game. I know the movie wasn't a hit and some swear by it being bad, which I strongly disagree with by the way, but I firmly believe that Phastos, and all the Eternals for that matter, could be very fun additions to this class of Titans or others with a little tinkering. Oh, and on one last side note, since Phastos is a bigger dude when played by Brian Tyree Henry, and Concord shat the bed with its BBM icon attempt in DAW, well, needless to say, I think we can do a little better than just Roadhog when it comes to fat shooter characters in the year of our Lord, or lack thereof, 2025. No offense, Roadhog, we love ya. So I say, let Phastos be a big guy in this game, or at least be built like Clark in My Adventures with Superman. I promise you, Rivals devs, we bisexuals will appreciate the inclusion of this gay not god just as much as the rest of the internet, appreciates Squirrel Girl.
There's so much porn!
Fight back, man! Fight back!
Now let's continue the combat. Duelist, a class made up of shooters and fisters.
What do you mean by that?
Iron Fist closing. Let's get fisted.
These characters are designed to do one thing above all else: fight, fight, and fight. They are built to throw hands, fire shots, kick ass, cut a bitch, you name it, they face it, sometimes stupidly. Like my dumbass anytime I think I can run the rink as T'Challa while blasting Dynasties and Dystopia only to get game ended 5 seconds in.
Bulletproof vest.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
Black Panther. Vengeance has consumed you.
Originally, my Duelist main was Star-Lord with his rapid-fire, zero fucks given vibe and mobility, but now it's Squirrel Girl. Why? Oh, you know, no reason in particular. Why do you ask? However, Doreen would have competition if they added my next suggestion to this game. Now, unlike the Vanguard, where it took me forever to think of one character, Duelist had the opposite problem, where I thought of multiple characters I wanted, but couldn't narrow it down to just one for a while. My choices before my final pick included Daredevil, Nova, Ghost Rider, Miss Marvel, Reptile, bet some of you haven't heard that name in a while, War Machine, Wasp, and of course Falcon, who was originally my final pick and I still believe could be a fantastic addition, especially if they make him play and fly like he does in Disney Infinity. But then, I stopped limiting myself to just heroes and decided to include at least one villain. That's right, bitches, it's Baron Zemo. Easily my pick for the best Captain America villain. Helmut Zemo getting added is actually not an unreasonable possibility, as we already have an entire Hydra vacation spot as a map in this game. But even if we ignore that and focus on gameplay mechanic ideas for him, Zemo can add something we don't really have in Rivals yet: sword fighting. Now yes, we do have blade wielders in this game, and for the first time in forever, we can finally definitively say Blade is coming soon in something.
Is this entire episode just gonna be sex jokes?
But until he shows up, they don't quite fit with what I mean by this. Hela uses blades, yes, but she throws them. Hawkeye has a katana, but he's not Ronin in this game, so that sword is secondary. Magic does carry a sword, but it's massive and used for broad Shinken Red style swings. Zemo, on the other hand, tends to wield swords a lot more like a knight or a fencer. His blade attacks are swift, quick, sharp, and refined, but with a decent amount of power and strength behind them. Essentially, I want a character that can pierce and swing like Enter from Go Busters, but with the speed of a Clone Wars lightsaber duel. Speaking of gameplay ideas, I would of course make that sword his primary for swift but deadly blade strikes. For his secondary, I'd have him use that sword in a guard stance, as on top of giving you a parry possibility, it'd be a good way to contrast Cap's shield block, as Zemo would absolutely be petty enough to try one-upping Steve's abilities.
After all these years, is revenge on me really that important to you? Yes.
Right on cue, ability 1 would be dashing forward with a thrust of his sword. Ability 2 can be tossing an explosive, perhaps one with an energy effect similar to the Winter Soldier electricity. And ability 3 can be a jump where Helmut leaps forward while spinning like a tornado and striking at any rivals caught in his way. Lastly, for an ultimate, I'd like to see Zemo pull out a gun, since he's had one in every adaptation I've seen of the character. But instead of firing bullets or energy, it would spray Virus X. The same toxic chemical that, at least in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, horrifically melted his iconic ski mask to his skull. This Virus X attack can then slow enemies down into stiffer movements and slowly take away their health. Now on to skin ideas. For his base design, I'd probably go for something that fuses elements from the Earth's Mightiest Heroes design, his newer, more Secret Empire associated design, and this suit from New Thunderbolts 18 that I keep seeing a lot online. Then, for the others, I'd of course add his drip from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or maybe even this concept design from Captain America Civil War. This would go hard. But as for a comic skin, while I'd be up for the Heinrich Zemo suit since the mask and crown are different on that design, what I'd really prefer to see added is his Citizen V disguise from when he formed the Thunderbolts. Either way, Zemo is my favorite Marvel villain, period, so if I could add any to Rivals, it would be his bitch ass.
Let the skull have Bucky. Your life is mine to take! Ah!
Even if when it comes down to playing as either of them, what will likely happen most of the time is this clip.
You must make a choice between a sword or a shield. Take the shield.
Also, definitely reference the journal if you give him any voice lines with Bucky.
And the good Lord said, "Arise, my son!"
We'll use the power of friendship. Oh, shit.
And now we arrive at the final class, Strategists. Here to continue the work of our Lord and Savior, the Medic.
Doctor, are you sure these men work?
Yes.
How?
I have 20 million power and rise of kingdoms.
These heroes are a perfect combination of being helpful to everyone and themselves, which I'd argue any good support in a video game should always do. And my main for this class, the newly added Invisible Woman herself, Sue Storm, fits this perfectly with her bouncing healing blasts, shielding options, and camouflage, allowing me to heal and hit by surprise. But who could I have possibly picked as my last character for this section that could rival how much I enjoy playing as Sue? Well, thankfully, I can throw any picking issues in the garbage because this hero was my first choice for this video. And you didn't know it, but now you know. My last pick is Lunella Lafayette, aka Moon Girl. A super inhuman child prodigy from the LES of NYC, with one of the best Disney Channel cartoons ever made despite Disney's consistent efforts to try and screw it over. That said, editing Kevin here, I have not seen the second half of season 2 at the time of this recording, so until further notice, do not spoil it for me in the comments or I will find you and break both of your— This magical, radical, adorable marble of Marvel presents a lot of possibilities for a creative playstyle. Getting right into it, primary one would be using her bubble gun to either heal allies or hit enemies. Notice how I said primary one, because like Captain America, I would give her a second primary, which is spin kicking with her skates. Obviously, her rollerblading mobility would likely be similar to Luna Snow's, but perhaps a bit faster given her smaller size and weight. And because the idea of Lunella racing around the map like Gurren Invader Zim sounds cute and hilarious. Plus, the distance you'd get from a KO would go crazy on edits. For her secondary, I'd of course have Lunella launch out some of her boxing gloves like rockets, as these are one of her signature weapons. Moving to her abilities, Ability 1 can be a dashing move where her jetpack pops out to give her a boost, or just let her fly around for a minute. Ability 2 can be playing music with her record player.
Nope. Got it. Fuck.
Cassette player that either gives allies a health or defense boost. And ability 3 can be blasting an even bigger bubble that either traps enemies and takes away their health, or contains an ally in a protective bubble shield that can heal them. Lastly, for her ultimate, you should know exactly what I'm about to do here, even if you've only heard of this character by name. Because while Lunella is fantastic and worth it on her own, there is no Moon Girl without—
Devil!
That's right, for her ultimate, Mama Lunella calls in Devil Dinosaur. I'd have him come through a giant portal, roar at anybody in his path, which can either knock them back or heal allies, and then go around crushing, chomping, or swinging at foes for about 10 seconds. And to close out with her skins, not only would her original comic outfit be a must-have, of course, but I would absolutely need to see one of her suits from the show included. I think either of her base suits make the most sense, but I'd also be up for seeing Devil Girl or her prototype suit from season 2, because that comes from one of the best episodes of the show. As for a base design, well, originally I didn't have any suggestions to end this section on and was just going to go right into the conclusion. And then I wanted to do an art project.
I'm activated in my suit when I juice it up. Kick this thing in overdrive when I juice it up.
That's right, this 2D artist tried to draw in a hyper-detailed 3D style. I'll admit, it was tough at first. I felt like this woman trying to make a turkey sandwich half the time, but it was worth it because I love how this turned out. Yes, it is heavily inspired by the TV show design, as I just haven't had the time to read the comics yet, and that's what I most associate her with. But I did at least try to come up with a bunch of detail changes to help this one stand on its own, and I did at least try to look to the comics for some elements, including her hair being a compromise between her ponytail in the show with her afro puffs from the original comics, and then the dark blue on her arms and legs is actually based on this astronaut suit from one of the covers. My personal favorite details, though, are in the torso and the helmet. Merging the moon with the G to make this unique logo shape was already fun enough, but then the helmet had so many little details I loved doing, including adding more light blue to the Season 1 design, adding a moon sticker and little stars so that it looks like a starry night, a detail I liked so much that I went back and added a star pattern onto the yellow to help it stand out more, and then the goggles, which have this really pretty, sparkly, glittery effect that actually reminds me of the lighting from a sequence in one of my favorite episodes of the show. So whether I was subconsciously influenced by that or not, I love that it looks exactly like this in the end. It's so good. And if you like this design too, you can view it after this video is done, as I will be posting it on my Blue Sky, DeviantArt, and hopefully Instagram, even though I hate the cropping on that site, so we'll have to see how that goes. Also, shout out to these other artists who were able to get to the Moon Girl idea before I did and had very different results from mine. It's really cool looking at these back to back, not only to compare and contrast with mine, but also to showcase the different levels of creativity everybody is bringing to their rivals' fan art. Obviously, I don't think these are exactly what Lunella would look like if she actually got added to the game, but knowing how dang good a job those Mad Lad designers have done thus far, I'm sure whatever they came up with if she got added would be creative, colorful, silly, awesome, and or fun. Because at the end of the day, that's all I want with Rivals, to keep having fun and play fun versions of heroes or villains I like. Again, there are still so many playable character options to consider, like Vision, Cyclops, Archangel, Ghost, Wiccan, Taskmaster, Okoye, Wonder Man, Silver Surfer. Or you can take characters that are already in the game or hinted at in the game and make them playable, like Shuri.
Bitch, I'm playing Lego Star Wars. I want to marry this woman, she's so bad.
You could do more New Mutants, or just weirder, more obscure mutants in general, like Maggot and Armor. You could do the original Big Hero 6 team, because that totally counts here. And since the movies aren't doing Inhumans, definitely think about adding Lockjaw, Medusa, Black Bolt. Okay, wait, maybe not him. Ooh, or maybe, with Thunderbolts coming out, they could do a tie-in with Sentry. Oh god, wait, that would be even more destructive. What the fuck? You get the picture. While what we have is plenty so far, Rivals is still just getting started, and I can't wait to see what other dope additions they make. My suggestions probably won't happen, but if they did, I'd be very happy. And I'm more than excited to see what this batch of upcoming heroes will offer in terms of gameplay. But until then, that's gonna do it for this video. I'm American Elephant, call me Kevin. Thanks for stopping by Elephant Power Productions. Follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, and DeviantArt. Check out my website, elephantpowerart.com, if you want to see some of my work from college. If you're a fan of the cartoon Infinity Train, please consider checking out my fan animation for it, Place for Us. I worked a long time on it, and I'm so happy with the results. Subscribe if you want more content like this, and I will hopefully see you all on the next episode of Kev Talks. Take care, simp responsibly, and Amandla and Lovu to all of you.